Hey YouTube, I thought I would share my negligent discharge story. In my last video I briefly touched on it, so I thought I'd go ahead and share that story with you all today. And my negligent discharge story goes like this. Of the gun safety laws that I broke, it was not keeping my finger off the trigger and not treating every gun as if it were loaded. Luckily, I had the keep the gun pointed in a safe direction down, so the bullet went into the wall. I can't show you where it went into because I've already patched it, and so there was no more hole there. And the blender that got broken is in the trash, so that is not something I can show you guys either. However, I can show the story, so that's what I'm going to do. It was early in the morning. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. There's a couple things that were different that morning that were not different than any other morning, which kind of aided in my having a negligent discharge. The first thing that happened was that I was commuting with a coworker to work. Now, normally I just drive to work, but I found out a guy that I work with lived literally right down the street from me, so I'm like, hey, we should commute. And so that was one morning that was his turn to drive. So I was getting up normal time, getting ready like always, and this is early in the morning, probably 4 a.m. or something like that, which is normal for me when I go to work. And I'm waiting for him to get to my place so we can commute to work together. And so I'm sitting there, and I have my 1911s laid out on the kitchen table. This is the Springfield Armory. This is one of them. I had two. They're both the same exact type of guns. They're Springfield Armory TRPs, great 1911s. Let's go ahead and make them safe, just to make you internet gun safety people happy. Right? All right, guns are safe. Cool. So I had that 1911, and I had... It wasn't this one, but just for the sake of demonstration, I will have the second 1911, also safe, out and available. Now, for those of you that know 1911s, you know how they work. Thumb safeties, okay, and thumb safeties, right? Okay. So, what would happen with the one 1911 that I had, that I bought from a friend actually, but it was the same type of Springfield Armory 1911, I would rack the slide, and the hammer would fall to half cock. Right about there. I was like, that's really weird. Why did my 1911 do that? So I ran it, blah, blah, blah. Now here's what I did. I picked up my other 1911, did not make sure that it was clear, and did this. Bang. And bang it went. Right into the blender. Destroyed my blender. The bullet actually went to the wall. Like I said, the one gun safety law that I did maintain was that I had it pointed in a relatively safe direction. It wasn't pointed at myself. It wasn't pointed up in the ceiling. I live in an apartment building, so I got neighbors. It was pointed at the kitchen wall, and it ended up going literally into the corner of the wall. Of all the places that it could have gone, it went into the corner, so it went like an inch deep, and the bullet just kind of fell to the ground because it couldn't penetrate the wall. But my negligent discharge story, the reasons, the things that led up to me having that negligent discharge was the fact that things were different that morning than they normally were on any other given morning. Like I said, I wasn't commuting for work. I was waiting for somebody, and while I was bored, devil's playground, right? Idle hands are the devil's whatever they say. And so I'm sitting there bored, and I'm like, oh, let me play with my guns, right? Oh, great idea. So I picked this guy up, and I'm playing with him. And it falls to half cock, and I'm like, that's really weird. Bang, it goes. So that's my negligent discharge. There's not really much else to it. I just wanted to share that, guys, with you. When you're handling firearms, when you are handling guns, always treat every gun as if it were loaded. Always. And even if you know it's not loaded, triple check it. I know this gun's not loaded. Check it. Make sure. Rack that slide. Then keep it pointed in a safe direction. Then pull the trigger, okay? Don't sit there and do like I did and just pick a gun up off the counter and say, oh, it's not loaded, click, bang. So gun safety laws, guys, for those of you that may not know for whatever reason, number one, treat every gun as if it's always loaded. Number two, probably the even more important one, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. And number three, point the gun in a safe direction or down range. If you're at the range, make sure the gun's pointed down range. But if you're in the apartment, in a safe direction. For me, it happened to just be the kitchen wall, and the bullet just went in the right place. But that's my negligent discharge story, guys. If you have a negligent discharge story, I'd love to hear it. Sometimes they can be funny. Like me, I ruined a blender and I put a hole in the wall, which I had to patch, and my right ear still, I have hearing damage because of it. And I don't know what, because the gun was pointed that way, and I thought the sound would go that way, but evidently it bounced off. I don't know what happened, but my right ear is not the same because of that. So yeah, share your guys' stories. If you guys have a negligent discharge story, they always say it's not if but when. I hope that you guys can learn from my mistakes and say, I'm not going to be like that idiot, and you're not going to have a negligent discharge for a long, long time. But everybody says it's a matter of when. So be safe out there, guys. We'll catch you next time.